Hello, welcome back to the VTOL VR Definitive Campaign Guide. Last time we finished all of the quick flight missions. We finished all of the notable missions for the F-45A Ghost. So now we are moving on to the next aircraft. Yeah, we're done with the F-45. Only 3 missions, unfortunately, but oh well. Moving on to the next aircraft, we have the AH-94 Dragonfly, which is the AH-94 Dragonfly, a twin turboshaft attack helicopter with a tandem cockpit for 2 pilots. So the AH-94 Dragonfly was VTOL VR's first DLC aircraft. It was the first aircraft that you had to pay for. You had to buy the DLC for, which I mean it is worth it. So yeah. And it was also the first aircraft that supported that let you fly with 2 players. So yeah, it has 2 people in the cockpit. You can fly with 1 pilot and 1 gunner or something like that. So just like the F-45, the AH-94 doesn't have its own campaign, but it does have it does have 3 notable quick flight missions. There is also flight practice, which is basically acts kind of like a tutorial / practice for the AH-94 because the AH-94 being a helicopter flies significantly differently compared to all of the other aircraft. So if you don't really have experience with the AH-94, I recommend doing flight practice so you can get a feel for how it flies, learn how it flies, because yeah, it flies very differently, and you are gonna need to learn how it flies. But we're doing this assuming you know at least the basics of how the AH-94 flies. So we're just gonna skip flight practice, and instead we're just going to go into the first quick flight mission for the AH-94, the first notable quick flight mission for the AH-94, Small Arms. Attack lightly defended enemy encampments. Welcome. I know you've been itching for a bit of action, so I have a few tasks lined up for you today. Let's get started. A huge mountain range divides us from the enemy territory, so we usually don't get too much activity in this area. Recently, we began spotting small groups passing through and setting up small camps on our side of the ridge. They appear to be setting up forward operating bases to service their VTOL-capable attack aircraft. They're still early in the preparation stage, so we should attack now before they get too fortified. We currently have positive intel on 2 camps. We know where they are, and that they're only equipped with small arms, so this should be a breeze for you. Their locations are available in the objective data. After you clear out those sites, there will be one more matter we need you to look into. We are aware of transport activity in the high mountain region, so we'll have you go and perform some recon. Be sure to bring enough fuel. Absolutely never go beyond the mountain range and into the plains. Beyond that point is enemy territory, which is heavily defended by long-range air defenses and fighters. So we're to destroy all of our summary. We are to destroy all targets in sites A and sites A and B, and perform recon in the high mountains. And never pass the mountain range. Go past the mountain range. Threats are small arms fire and man pads. So yeah, let's get into it. So this is the AH-94 Dragonfly. So here's what we're gonna equip onto the Dragonfly. First of all, gun. We need a gun. So this is the AH-94. The Dragonfly has 2 possible guns that you can equip. Both are mounted in a turret on the front of the. They are mounted in a turret in the front on the nose, just below the nose of the helicopter. So and so we can turn the aim the gun at specific targets. There are two possible guns: the GAU-94, a 20 millimeter, which is a high rate of fire 20 millimeter cannon, or the M230 chain gun, a 30 millimeter a 30 millimeter cannon, which has a slower rate of fire but does more damage per shot. Now, I think the M230 chain gun is probably better against more armored targets, but we're not really dealing with armored targets. Mostly dealing with small and light targets, so we're just gonna bring the GAU-94. This will be plenty for our purposes. Next, we have on our stub wings, we can carry armament. We can carry ordnance on our stub wings. We have the option of Hydra 70 rocket. We have the option of rocket pods, Hellfire missiles, ballista missiles, AGM-27s, which are basically laser-guided rockets. We have GBU-39 ERs, which are the GBU-39 small diameter bombs, but they're equipped with booster stages to compensate for the helicopter's lack of speed, which are helpful. We also have external tanks in case we need more fuel. We don't. This thing only carries 870 liters of fuel internally, but that's plenty. But this thing actually has this thing's fuel consumption is very low, and a full tank of fuel is enough to fly like an hour and a half. So yeah, most of the time you don't have to worry about fuel in this thing at all. And we also have tow missiles. This thing can also carry tow missiles. So we have the TOW-2As, the BGM-71E TOW-2As, which are wireless command-guided anti-tank missiles. So the tow missiles operate on using SAC loss guidance, semi-active command and launch line of sight, something like that. Basically, they just follow. They work similarly to laser guided weapons, but they work similarly to laser guided weapons where you have to keep the target painted at all times, but you also have to make sure the missile is also in your TGP's field of view, so that so that you can properly guide the missiles. And there are two variants of the tow missiles: the BGM-71E TOW-2A and the BGM-71H TOW-2C. The TOW-2As are anti-tank missiles, while the TOW-2Cs are bunker buster missiles. The TOW-2As, they have a slightly larger blast radius, but lower damage, so they're incapable of destroying bunkers. The TOW-2Cs have smaller blast radius but higher damage, which are capable of destroying bunkers. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna carry two racks of. Actually, no. We're gonna carry We're gonna carry two racks of AGM-27 laser guided rockets, and then we're gonna carry one rack of Hellfires, and then we're gonna also carry one rack of TOW-2Cs, but only two of them. We only need two tow missiles. And then this helicopter can also equip a fire control radar mounted on top of the rotors. So similar to the real life AH-94D Apache longbow, this thing can equip a fire control radar mounted on top of the rotors. and it can scan. And unlike the radars on other aircraft, this can also be used to scan surface targets, and in fact is ideal for is actually better for scanning surface targets. So yeah. This is a millimeter wave radar mounted over the main rotor, meaning it's a high frequency radar. And can scan, track and classify targets simply based on their radar signatures. So yeah. And since it's also mounted so high on the helicopter, you can actually like hide behind like terrain and then just peek your radar out to get a view of targets on the other side of the terrain. So that's pretty cool. It's pretty niche. That's a pretty niche use, but it's pretty cool. And that's it. You might notice we also have hardpoints on our wingtips. These can be used to equip AH-94 Stinger missiles, which are heat-seeking air-to-air missiles used for self-defense. We don't really need them, so we don't really need stingers, so we're just gonna go without them. Anyways, let's go. Oh yeah, we're gonna be fighting mostly in in a forest environment, so we're gonna carry the forest cam. We're just gonna paint our aircraft in forest camo. All right, let's go.
All right, get up and running. You've got a few tasks ahead of you, so I'll talk you through it once you get in the air.
Roger that. All right, so this is the AH-94 Dragonfly right here. So as you can see, we are sitting in the back seat because we are the pilot, and that's how. You know, that's where the pilot sits in a tandem seat helicopter. First of all, we gotta get started up. We're gonna switch on our battery and start the APU. And we're gonna get our displays turned on. And our HUD. Alright, APU is up. So, to start up the helicopter, I mean, you should probably know how to start up the helicopter, but in case you don't know how to start up the helicopter, first of all, you want to turn off. First of all, you want to make sure your rotors are not folded. Which, if you are spawned on a carrier, on like a carrier or like a cruiser or something, then yeah, your rotors will be folded to save space. You want to make sure your rotors are unfolded. Turn off the rotor brake. And start the engines. First, start the left engine. You can watch the engine speed rise. Start rising, and then we're gonna push the power to idle. Push this power level to idle. What I'm also gonna do is I'm gonna actually switch this to I'm gonna actually switch the stick to center stick. I like actually using the center stick for the helicopter. All right, left engine started. Start the right engine. I like using the center stick for the Dragonfly just because it just feels easy. It just feels more responsive than the side stick. All right, engines are up. Good. So now we're gonna push our power level to flight, and the engines will rev up to proper speed. Engines and rotors will rev up to the proper speed. You can watch your rotor speed over here. You want to try to make sure your rotor speed does not leave this green zone. Otherwise, you could lose control of the helicopter, or you could lose control of the helicopter, or lose lift. So yeah, when you want to be starting a bit careful when maneuvering, because that can cause rotor speed to dip. Anyways, we're started up. Let's get airborne. We're just gonna So to get airborne, you want to hold on to the flight collective and then hold the trigger, which is your foot brakes. Then we're gonna switch off the parking brake, and let's get airborne. And we're just gonna slowly raise. We're gonna slowly raise the collective. And now we're airborne. And we're gonna adjust our trim. And then use the stick on the flight collective and on the cyclic, which is, you know, the stick. Use the joystick on the flight collective and on the cyclic to adjust the trim. And we're airborne. Gonna go gear up. And we're gonna head out. And we're just gonna start heading out towards our objective. I'm gonna just so being a helicopter, it does not fly particularly fast or high. We're gonna fly at about like 1,000 feet, 15 to 1,500 feet above the ground.
Okay, so the bad guys started sending troops into the area, and it looks like they're setting up little camps for their VTOL jets to re-arm and refuel. We were able to catch it early, so they aren't fully operational yet. They don't have much beyond small arms, so you should be able to wipe them out no problem. The first one's deep in these woods by the foothills.
Roger that. Alright, and then we're just gonna like put the autopilot on. And now enjoy your flight towards the first target. We're gonna switch on our radar. And I'm just gonna keep my radar on. We don't really have to look at the radar page. We don't really have to keep the radar page up because any radar contacts will appear on our HUD if the radar is on. So yeah. As like I'm keeping the radar on just to like keep an eye out for any contacts. We're gonna activate our TGP, which by the way is called the TADS in this aircraft, the Targeting and Acquisition Site. So Target Acquisition and Designation Site. Yeah, TADS. And we're also, as you can see, we're already getting a radar contact.
Coming out of this side of the mountain range. I haven't seen them this far in years. Let's remind them to keep their hands to themselves.
Roger that.
Now, I hope I don't need to remind you not to wander onto the other side of that tall ridge. They've got a huge network of air defenses and won't hesitate to send a fighter or three to intercept you.
Roger that.
There you go. Take out anything you see. Don't worry, that bull shark probably doesn't have any fuel.
Roger. Yep, we can see him. You can see the radar contact on our HUD, which is that diamond. Those diamonds are radar contacts. And yeah. Unfortunately, they're kind of hidden behind the trees, so it's gonna be a little bit tricky to find them. So we're gonna have to get a bit closer because they're kind of hidden behind the trees. Alright, we're gonna start arming weapons, which the arm switch, the arming switch is just a button here. And by the way, all of these quick flight missions for the AH-94 are playable in multiplayer. You just gotta load up the multiplayer, and then you can just open the multiplayer lobby, open up the multiplayer menu, and then these missions will be available as multiplayer missions. So yeah, you can get. I believe you might be able to get 2. Okay, I don't know if you can get 2 helicopter. I don't remember how many plays you can get, but you can at least get someone as your co-pilot or something. All right. Now with our TAD selected as soy, our gun will aim where our soy is where our TGP is pointing. So approaching target. And let her rip. Alright, target destroyed. Gonna let loose with our guns. There's a couple of infantry remaining. There's a couple of infantry just shooting at us with their rifles. Let's try to we're gonna come back around and to take him out. Oh, apparently the bull shark survived. outpost destroyed.
Good. Now move on to Outpost Bravo. Remember to keep an eye out for man pads. You never know.
Roger that. So that there is a bull shark. There is a GAV E25 bull shark parked at that outpost, but it's unarmed. It doesn't have fuel, so it will not take off. All right, outpost A is cleared. Let's head towards outpost B. It's outpost Bravo, which is around these mountains. We're just gonna like take this mountain pass towards outpost Bravo. Once again, we're gonna put the autopilot on. Because honestly, hand flying this thing is just kind of exhausting. So it's honestly just hand flying this helicopters for extended periods is just kind of exhausting, honestly. Yeah. So how your guns, how your gun will aim whatever your soy is set. So for example, if you have your radar set as soy and you lock onto a target, then your gun will automatically aim at the target you're locked onto. If your TGP is set as soy, then your gun will aim at whatever your TGP is wherever your TGP is looking. And if you're aiming at a moving target, it'll automatically compensate for lead. So yeah, that's pretty. So yeah. And if you don't have any of your sensors set as soy, then instead the gun will actually, let's see, if you turn off soy, it'll actually aim wherever you're looking. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, the gun will just aim wherever you're looking. Which is actually pretty nice. And you know, combine that with like, say, if you put your TGP as in head track mode, then you know you can see. Then that'll really help with that actually help out with aiming and seeing your target. So yeah. Anyways, a lot of this mission is just like kind of traversing between all of the targets. So yeah, there's gonna be quite a lot of flying. I'm probably just gonna cut out a lot of the travel because it just takes a while. This thing is not fast. As you can see, we're only going at 170 around just under 180 knots. So yeah, not fast. It's a helicopter. Yeah, you can actually go faster if you carry less stuff. Obviously, you can go faster if you carry less stuff. But we're kind of carrying quite a lot of stuff, and we haven't really used much of our munitions. So yeah. Right, we've only used gun ammo. So we're just gonna use our ordnance on the next. We're gonna mostly be using our ordnance on the next target. So yeah. So I guess I can give you a rundown of how each weapon works. Although it's not really much to give a rundown about. Our AGM-27s are basically laser-guided rockets. They function similarly to the Hydra 70 rockets. They have similar damage output, but they are laser-guided. So they're actually pretty good at taking. So they actually excel at taking out groups of infantry without having to waste too much ammo. So yeah. As we're detecting a MAD-4 our radar, our signal. That's because here's the mountain range that we are not to go past. And so because that's the plains over there, and that is MAD-4 our radar is in the plains, which is enemy territory. We do not want to go into that area. The MAD-4 radar may lock onto you, but you shouldn't have to worry too much about it. You can just get behind the mountains and just get behind and cover, and you know you'll lose and you'll easily break block. So don't worry about them. Anyways, we're starting to approach next target. Oh yeah, there's gonna be man pads at the second target. So if you want to deploy flares, what you want to do is hold the combat collective, not the flight collective. Hold the combat collective. Hold the trigger and press the face button. So yeah, and press the top button, and that'll deploy flares. And also you can also press the top button on the combat collective without holding the trigger.
That's Outpost Bravo.
To swap,
Looks
to
like
quickly swap between.
Parked up there, but no real resistance. Destroy anything you see.
Roger. You can quickly swap between in soy by pressing the top button. All right. Detecting a few vehicles. Gonna fire off some of our AGM-27s. Their overall damage output is pretty of these are pretty low.
Got a couple of guys moving towards those bull sharks. If those things are operational, you're gonna want to take them out before they take off.
Roger. Roger. Rifle. Ah, we're hit. Damn it, we're hit. Took a hit from a man pads. Not the end of the world. Just gotta... I kind of dumped flares a bit too late. Alright, we're gonna have to come back around. Come back around for another pass. Those bulls... Woo! So normally flares are very effective in this because the heat signature of the engines are pretty low. So usually you only have to just have to pop flares and that'll be enough to dummy off any heat-seeking missiles. All right, rifle out. Man pads is down.
Okay, all targets destroyed.
Roger that.
We've got one last thing for you. We're aware of some activity in the high mountains, and it's got us a little worried. It's probably nothing but worth checking out while you're out in the area. Just flag the waypoint, and we'll give you some further instructions when you get there.
Roger. All right. Outpost Bravo is cleared. So at Outpost Bravo, there are two bull sharks. There are two bull sharks at Outpost Bravo, and shortly after you approach Outpost Bravo, there will be guys running to man the bull sharks and take off. Because these bull sharks will take off if you take too long to destroy them. They'll take off and then they will engage and they'll try to attack you. So ideally, you want to take those bull sharks out quick before they can get airborne. And I always forget to set my countermeasure system, the release rate on my countermeasure system. Which you should only have to do the first time you get into an aircraft, but yeah, this is the first time I get to an aircraft on this account. So yeah. So yeah, there is also man pads in that outpost. You can just watch out for him, listen for missile alerts, just pop flares. So the AH-94 is actually surprisingly durable. Like, it's surprisingly bulky. It can take quite a few, at least quite a few man pads at hits, like quite a few hit from heat seekers. Like at least on the fuselage. If you take hits on your rotors, you're gonna definitely notice a significant reduction in maneuverability and lift. So yeah, you want to be careful. So I advise being extra vigilant for heat-seeking missiles. If you hear missile launch warning, just pop some flares. Just pop a few flares and that should easily dummy off any heat-seeking missiles. So our last objective is to head into the mountains and recon. We are gonna be climbing. We are gonna have to climb, and so we're gonna so we're gonna lose a bit of speed during the climb because we're gonna have to get over these mountains. But yeah, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set my autopilot up to take us up to 9,000 feet, and that should get us over the mountains. We're gonna lose some speed in the climb, but it is what it is. Anyways, if you do fail to take out the bull sharks before they get airborne, first of all, well, you know, they're gonna try to attack you. They're gonna try to attack you. They're gonna fire heat seekers at you, and they're just gonna try to fire guns at you. You can try to engage them, like you can try to use your gun, to shoot them down. If you brought stingers, you can use your stingers. But if that happens, you can also try to get help from your allied fighters who are patrolling the area. There are a couple of allied fighters patrolling the area. You can try to see if you can get your allied fighters to assist you. Anyways, going up into the mountains, and we are to recon this area. So this helicopter, it's actually it can easily deal with heat-seeking missiles, because you just pop a few flares and the missile will almost certainly dummy off. As long as you do it early enough, the missile will most certainly dummy up, because this thing has a pretty low heat signature. But this thing does struggle with radar guided missiles. Like, it's really struggles with dodging radar guided missiles, because it's pretty maneuverable, but we can't really pull enough G's because of this thing, how slow this thing is. It can't really pull enough G's to evade radar guided missiles. So your best bet when it comes to radar guided missiles in this thing is is terrain masking. Get behind terrain, break lock with the break lock. Get behind terrain and break lock, and that's the best way to avoid radar guided missiles. All right, approaching the target. Let's get ready to look around. Keep an eye out. Let's keep a good scan on radar. Keep a good scan on radar. So there's gonna be an enemy installation in this area, and you just gotta mark it with your TGPE to complete the recon task. You just gotta tag it with your TGP with your TADs. There on radar. Got it on radar.
Looks like they're trying to expand their air defenses up here. You're not going to be able to destroy that bunker, but the radar is probably pretty valuable.
Roger.
Take it out before they get to turning it on, and you can come home.
Roger. Our objective is to now we have to take out the radar. There is a radar and a AAA gun. So and the radar is this box because it's inactive.
Yeah, this is about the area where we saw some construction equipment being airlifted into. Try to see if you can find out what they've been working on. Use your TADs to get an ID if you see anything.
Roger. Though there'll be a couple of infantrymen running to activate the radar and AAA gun. You want to take out both of those before they get active. Come on. Alright, radar destroyed. Let's take out the AAA gun as well. Rifle. Target's destroyed. Uh-oh. I think I may have broken the mission by... Uh-oh. Guys, I think I may have broken the mission. I think I tagged the targets too early. And now I think that the mission is borked. I think I soft-locked the mission. Guys, I think I soft-locked the mission by tagging targets too early. Oops. Yeah, I have accidentally soft-locked the mission. So, apparently the mission unsoft-locked if you find the target, if you tag the targets too early. I did not know this. But I guess, good to know. Yeah, I have soft locked the mission. Well, that's something new to learn. Yeah, pro tip: don't actually tag the targets until the objective to find the targets activates. Otherwise, you soft lock the mission. Oops. All right, here we are again. Let's not soft lock the mission this time. We can see the target. We can see him on radar, but we gotta wait until the objective activates before we tag it. Before we spot the target. Otherwise, it'll soft lock the mission.
Yeah, this is about the area where we saw some construction equipment being airlifted into. Try to see if you can find out what they've been working on. Use your tags to get an ID if you see anything.
Roger. Just gonna tag it with our tags.
Looks like they're trying to expand their air defenses up here. You're not going to be able to destroy that bunker, but the radar is probably pretty valuable. Take it out before they get to turning it on and you can come home.
Roger. So now our objective is to destroy the radar, which is that big mounted box. The big mounted box. We also should take out the AAA gun. The radar looks like a big box because it's inactive.
Alright, great job. That's all I have for you today. Bring it home.
Roger. Alright, our work here is done. We're just gonna take out the AAA gun as well. So you want to take out so to recap, we want to take out that radar quickly because there'll be a couple of guys running there's a couple of guys over there. They'll be running towards the radar and they will try to activate the radar. And as you can see, there are SAMs. There are SAMs over there. And those guys will try to activate the radar and AAA gun. So if you don't take those out quick, those will activate, and you'll be in quite a bit of trouble because you also have to contend with the SAMs and AAA gun. But yeah, we took those out quick. You gotta take those out quickly, and then your work here is done. Now he said we actually won't be able to damage the bunker, which would be true most of the time. Because the mission doesn't really account for you carrying any bunker busting weapons, because the only weapons in the AH-94's arsenal that can destroy bunkers are the GBU-39 ERs and the TOW-2Cs. Those are the only weapons in the AH-94's arsenal that can destroy bunkers. So the mission doesn't really expect you to bring those weapons. It really just expects you to bring weapons to deal with, small arms like infantry and light vehicles. It doesn't really expect you to bring weapons that can destroy bunkers. But we did bring weapons that can destroy bunkers. We have two TOW-2C bunker buster missiles. So we're just gonna take out the bunker real quick. We're gonna actually get a bit of distance to make sure our missile has enough room to maneuver. So unlike other bunker buster weapons, the TOW-2C actually takes 2 missiles to destroy a bunker, so it's pretty inefficient compared to other bunker buster weapons. It's the only other bunker buster weapon that requires 2 missiles to destroy a bunker, which is it's kind of inefficient, but it's cheap. So you know what? I'll take it. It's cheap and light compared to the GBU-39, so we're just gonna take it. So it's gonna fire both off at this bunker. So, rifle. What you want to do is just keep both the bunker and the missiles in your TAD's line of sight until impact. You're gonna keep both the target and your TGPs and the missiles in your TAD's line of sight until the missiles impact. So those bunker destroyed. There's a couple of SAM launchers and those infantry guys. We're just gonna take those out real quick. We don't have to do this, but I like doing it. But I want to. We're just gonna use our remaining ordnance. We still have plenty of ordnance remaining, so we're just gonna do that. All right, and all targets destroyed. All targets destroyed. Bunker destroyed. SAM launchers destroyed. Infantry destroyed. All right, all targets neutralized. Returning to base. Our work here is done. Returning to base. So I said before, that radar, or the radar is that big box looking thing that's mounted there next to the AAA gun. It looks like that because the radar is inactive, and because the radar is inactive, and basically when DS radars are inactive, they basically fold the radar antenna into themselves. So yeah. For those who don't know, so if you don't know what an inactive radar looks like, you can get confused like where the radar is, because it just looks like a big box. But yeah, that is the radar. It's just that the radar antenna is folded into the structure when inactive. Anyways, our work here is done. Now we just gotta return to base. So that's another long flight. That's another long flight. It's 20 miles away. But the upside is, because we're high up, we're gonna be descending on our way down, so we're gonna gain quite a bit of speed in our descent. So that's pretty nice, I guess. But first we have to get over the mountains. And that's a pain. Because this thing does not climb fast and loses speed while climbing. It's gonna aim for this clearing over here, and then swing around on the mountain towards the base. Gonna swing around the peak to get to the base. To get back to base. Hey, we can see our allied fighters over there. Hey guys, you guys want to help give me a lift back to base? They can't do that, but but it's worth an ask. You know what we're gonna do is we're just gonna jettison our empty hardpoints, and that should hopefully reduce drag and increase our speed. Alright, coming around the mountain peak. So we're gonna switch autopilot to nav mode so it'll swing around. Yeah, we're just gonna jettison our empty hardpoints, which how the jettison system in this aircraft works. We just select which hardpoints we want to jettison, which we want to jettison both of the outer hardpoints. And then press the center button to jettison. And goodbye hardpoints. Goodbye empty racks. Someone's gonna find. Someone might eventually find those empty hardpoints just sitting in the snow on the mountains. We're just casually polluting the mountains, the mountain environment. I know, we're terrible. All right, we're just gonna start descending. 12 miles. As you can see, we gain speed. We do gain quite a lot of speed during descent. We're now at 200 knots. So yeah. Especially if you have your collective up to full. If you have your collective up to full, yeah, you can gain quite a lot of speed during the descent. Unfortunately, this thing is not designed for high-speed flight. So once we get back into level flight, it's gonna. So once we get back into level flight, the speed is gonna drop off pretty quick. It's kind of funny. It's kind of, this map is kind of funny because the map is actually like pretty big. This map is pretty big because there's these cities over here near the airbase, and then there's the big plains past the mountain range, but we don't really get to see most of the map. Like, it's a pretty big map. It takes pretty long to load. The map actually takes pretty long to load, but we don't get to see a lot of it. So yeah, I wonder if this map gets reused. This map might actually be reused for maybe one of the multiplayer missions. I actually don't know. Alright. We're gonna start coming down towards the base. Start descending, preparing for landing. Alright, we're gonna lower our collective. And we can just land at any of the helipads. Yeah, we want to start reducing our speed. And we're gonna go gear down. Not okay. Let's turn a bit so we don't crash into the control tower. So you can make landing simple by just activating the hover autopilot, which you can just simply do by pressing the top button while holding the flight collective. I'm just gonna land manually. This thing is a little touchy. Like, the controls can be pretty touchy. Okay, hold on. We're a bit too fast. So I'm gonna like circle around a tiny bit. The controls in the helicopter are pretty touchy, so you want to be careful when moving controls.
Ready to fix you up.
All right, and we're down. Perfect. All right, that was a decent landing. Maybe a little hard, but it's fine. Honestly, what can you really expect? Yeah, maybe the landing was a little hard. It's fine. We were landing manually after all. Alright, so we're just gonna shut her down real quick. So to shut her down, what you want to do is just lower the power to idle. Lower engine power to idle. And then ideally what you're supposed to do is wait until the rotor speed drops, I believe. Yeah, wait until rotor speed drops below the 50% mark, I believe. Or maybe drops below the green area. I don't remember. It's written in the community flight manual. I'm actually gonna push that, and we're gonna. Okay, anyways, we're just gonna push the engines to off, and that'll shut down the engines. Once the rotor As speed drops below this 50% mark, we're gonna turn on the rotor brakes to stop the rotor. You actually don't really have to do this, but you know, it's proper procedure. It doesn't actually hurt the aircraft by switching on the rotor brakes early, but yeah, it's proper procedure. You don't have to follow it. You don't really have to follow it. But you know. Alright. Alright, so we're gonna go rotor brake on, and that'll cause the rotors to very quickly stop. The rotor's probably just gonna swing around a little bit as they stop. You can also hear the engines winding down, and it's gonna switch off the battery, and we're gonna hop out and get a snack or something. But yeah, that's the mission. That is Small Arms, the first mission of the AH-94 Dragonfly. That's gonna be it for today. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.